Hi, guys. Welcome back to your joyful era with Courtney. I am so excited today because today is the day that I have my very first guest, and I am so happy to have her here. Darcy, Persisting Queen. Um, I love you so much. I love your content, and thank you so much for being here. And everyone's going to know her because she's big online in the law of assumption community, and I'm just so grateful to have you here. And funny story, when I found law of assumption, your account on Instagram, Persisting Queen, was one of the first accounts that I found online when I was manifesting my specific person,
Wow.
like 3 or 4 years
Yeah, I saw
ago.
it.
I found your account, and I am such a fan. I'm a fangirl of
Girl,
you
I'm a fan of
because
you.
oh, well, thank you. I'm honored, but truly, like, your content really shifted so much for me during that time when I was first learning. So I'm just so grateful to have you. Thank you.
I appreciate that. Are you trying to make me cry? Um, yes, Persistent Queen here. I started this account, I think in 2021. Yeah, it's been a minute. So, yes.
Yeah. So I would love to ask you, just tell everybody like a little backstory of like how you learned the law. I would love to hear about that because everyone's journey is different.
Mhm.
And I feel like a lot of people though have such a similar template, and we talked about this earlier, how a lot of people find law of attraction first and then later on find law of assumption. And I don't know why that is, but I find that so funny. And I would love to hear your experience with that. So just tell us like how you found the law, how you got into doing what you do, and how you became persisting
Yeah,
queen.
for sure. So I feel like I've always been open-minded, even as a child. Like, I was weird. I would just sit there and be like, how are you praying to like one person? Like, it just, like, how does he know everybody, you know? So I always question everything. I blame that on my Aquarius moon here. Um, but I learned about the law of attraction from my uncle. He actually just was watching The Secret and he's like, "You should watch this." So I watched it and I was like, "Oh my God, of course the first thing we all probably think about is like money." So my 16-year-old self was not trying to manifest money, but I took in some of the beliefs of like, let me work on some of the things about me. Like, I didn't understand mental diet or self concept. I just understood think positive. So I was like, okay. So I didn't really know how to catch that old story and kind of change that narrative. So I also was really into um, horoscope reading, and that was the beginning of that journey as well. And then I kind of gradually later on, for years just kind of knew the law of attraction, but didn't really like implement it. So I came across the law of assumption in 2020. And then that's when it just kind of took off. I was in a really dark, dark place. I mean, it was pretty dark. I definitely was wanting to do that at times. Like it was that bad. And so, law of assumption, it was just everybody gets that high. You start taking in all this information, and you're like, oh my God, I can. Not only was I trying to manifest my relationship back, but I was also trying, because I ran them off with my thoughts, but I also was trying to manifest me to feel better about myself because I did not like myself. I hid from people. I put on 40 pounds. I was really depressed. Yeah, so that kind of started things up. And then I'd say maybe 2021 is when I started the persisting page. I think I just got so into it that I was like, I need to be with like minded people. Like, I can't talk to outsiders. They don't understand this. I sound crazy. And then I just kind of started the page. But before that, in 2018, 2019, I actually had my own tarot page and I had a whole YouTube and I was
Oh,
getting
wow.
paid on
I
YouTube.
didn't know that.
So funny thing is I wrote down in my journal, I was like, I gotta hit like 10K on that thing. And I never hit it for the tarot aspect. Well, I did actually. Um, I ended up hitting it later on. Like I had gone like I switched it to the Persistent Queen. Like it's completely that now and I don't really use it, but um I don't know. I was posting like the little YouTube things and it just blew up. And then of course that's when I decided to step back from it. So I hit like 10K and I was like, "Oh, yep, bye. We're done."
You're like, I'm
Yeah,
done.
I just felt like I was living a double life for a while because I kept doing the tarot. And at first, everybody shuns the whole tarot thing. Whereas now I see it as you can see into your subconscious beliefs, but don't get crazy with it. You know what I mean? So,
I like it like as a
yeah,
gauge,
yeah,
because reality is a mirror
yep,
and it's reflecting where you are at
yeah,
that time. And so I used to be the person who would get a million tarot readings or energy readings seeking like an answer or validation or tell me what's going on with myself or this
yeah,
person. And now I see it as, well, I'm cool with it. I'm not knocking
yeah,
it, but I'm going to use it as a
yeah,
gauge and like a confirmation, but not something that I'm like externally seeking answers or validation from, right? Because that only comes from you. So that was my realization with tarot and with astrology. Everybody knows I love
yeah.
astrology, but there's nothing that says if you believe in law of assumption and about law of assumption that you still can't have those things in your life. I mean, what are they there for if not to enjoy the experience of what they are? But now you just have more clarity on what is actually happening.
Yeah. I feel like I went through a weird phase where I was like, oh, no tarot, none of that. Like, but now it's like when you have a good grip on your self concept, you know what to take in and what not to take in. That's it.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's really just entertainment, especially if you're getting a reading on someone else. You're like, oh, this is entertainment of like kind of like reassurance that I wanted to have. And for the astrology stuff, I mean, you can't really lie about it. I'm a Virgo sun and I'm very logical, and sometimes that's a pain in the ass with manifesting. So I have to like catch myself or the my Aquarius moon. I love to learn things. That's just who I am. Um and that Pluto rise or the Pluto rising in the first house, like major transformations. I mean, I switch my hair all the
Yep.
time. I change up anytime I switch externally, that means there's been an internal shift. So it reflects back out. So
That is power though.
yeah.
Like Pluto in the first house, that is powerful energy.
I feel like it is too. I definitely have been met with people either like me or they don't. So, but I don't
Well,
walk around with the
I have so many
impression that people hate me. You know what I'm saying? I just kind of, I'm neutral.
Right. I have so many Scorpio placements in my own chart. My Mercury, Venus, and Pluto are Scorpio, and I am so comfortable with Scorpio energy. I love Scorpio energy, but it is very intense and it can be very polarizing because it triggers people to look at themselves, and it is transformation and it is deep power and its depth. Like Scorpio, it has so much depth. So yeah, I could see that. And isn't it weird? I look at astrology as like computer programming. I say that all the time, but it's like, here's the programming. That's why it's so
Yeah.
accurate. But once you wake up to the fact that you're the one who programmed it, you did it,
Yeah.
then you can step away and be like, well, now I'm going to cherry pick. If I like it, I keep it. If I don't, then I'm not going to put that on myself, even though yes, I'm a Cancer rising. I have attributes of that. I'm Sagittarius, Sun, Virgo, Moon. I have attributes of all of these things, but I also can go, no, that doesn't affect me, or no, I'm going to change this assumption. So, really, it's just to me, it's like having the freedom to play around with picking what you prefer and leaving what you don't, like an algorithm. Like you swipe if you don't like it.
Yeah. You're right. It's like a blueprint, and then you get to kind of take it and do whatever you want with it. You know what I mean? Um, I have my Venus is in Libra, and then my Mars is in Gemini. That Mars energy goes crazy sometimes, especially when I have a passion for something. I run just like this page. Like, I've had so many coaches, and I'm not shading nobody, but I've had people reach out and be like, did you like do did you like run ads or something to get the amount of followers? I'm like, no, man, it's just I had a passion. and I just was
Right.
posting with the passion, and people feel that energy. It's energy. And boom, it
Yep.
just like I would refresh it and it just kept going up. And I was like, oh my God. Like I don't really care now. It's not even about the numbers. It was just like that's how powerful we are. But people just they just assumed, oh well, logic. Did you buy it? No, man. Heck no. I didn't have any money for that
Right.
at the time, you know?
That's exactly what happened to me with TikTok. And speaking of Mars, my Mars is in
Oh yeah.
Aquarius, and
So you understand that
whenever,
air energy.
uh, absolutely yes, and um, funnily enough, like I look at it as like it is passion, but and so for me, like on TikTok, that's exactly what happened to me as well, where I was just posting because I loved what I was talking about.
Yeah.
And I got this intuitive hit one day, like to post every day, and like I was having fun with it. And that's when everything just started blowing up and moving, and it just kind of happened organically. But it is like coming from that place of, for me, it's like these concepts are so interesting to me. I could talk about them all day, every day. And like, I love to get into all of the interesting like aspects of, what are we doing here, what does all of this mean, what is reality, how does it work, but at the same time, these concepts changed my life so much for the better, like a 180. Like I'm same with that has been me in the past too, like not wanting to be here anymore, not wanting to feel the way I felt, and the law of assumption and metaphysics and all these things turned things around for me so much in a positive way that it felt like a calling to me. And you get this because I'm sure you feel the same. It felt like a purpose for me to share that with other people and get the message out, and let people know, like, you don't have to suffer. We're not here to suffer, and you can change your life, and you can get better, and you can feel better, and you can have a better experience. So there is passion behind that,
Yeah.
right?
And I think also you even mentioning sometimes I think people look at the down in manifesting, they're like, oh my God, like I gotta go through this purge, I gotta go through all this pain. And the thing is sometimes that's just the bridge. Like you and I, like if we
Exactly.
hadn't gone through the things we went through, we wouldn't have started the page in the first place, you know?
Yep.
And the
Yep.
butterfly effect or whatever. But I feel like it's sometimes people look at it and they take it so personal and they're like, oh my gosh, like this is so negative when there's nothing outside of you. I think about this all the time saying, Darcy, you have to go through this negative spirit experience because you're not getting it. Like, what? There's nothing saying that. It's nothing is being, you shouldn't view anything as good or bad, just be neutral towards it. And I think that's like what I see a lot with people is, they don't see the movement. They want things to be a certain way. And I think sometimes that's just by accident. I don't think people purposely do it. We just secretly just have a way of how we want things to happen. And if it doesn't happen that way, then we're upset. And I like
Right.
to I'm all about analogies and stuff, but I always like to think of manifesting and like setting these like little, when you're playing bowling and they put those little things on the side for kids. I always like to think of it like that. I know that sounds so dumb, but I'm like because I feel like if not, people just go straight into it and they're just like, "Oh, SP's gonna call me and blow me up," when maybe SP separates from third party and doesn't call you right away because they're learning more about themselves, and maybe you run into them somewhere else. Maybe it's just not the right time, and it's not like, "Oh, this isn't working because they're not doing this exact thing," you know? So,
Exactly.
yeah.
I look at it too as like, I always talk about Interstellar because it blows my mind about how time's not linear. Everything's happening right now. Everything's happening everywhere all at once, right? Like that's another movie, but um I look back on my past self, which past and future aren't a thing, right? It's all right here. It's all happening now. I breadcrumbed myself through those things to wake myself up, and my future self is breadcrumbing current me, right? And so you're absolutely right, and I think part of it too is like people just want to feel better. They want things to be a certain way so that they can feel better. And the hard lesson that I learned through all of this was, you know, nothing is going to make me feel better until I find that within myself, no matter what my circumstances look like. I could have everything I've ever wanted. And if I'm still not fulfilled and complete within, it's not going to make a damn difference. You know what I mean? And I've been there in the past. And all of this taught me everything is an inside job. Exactly what you just said. Nothing is outside of you. Everything's an internal thing. And when you can learn, I feel like when you can learn how to feel good, feel better, feel whatever you want to feel, as the world is burning down, or no matter what your circumstances look like, then you have hacked the game. You know what I mean?
And I think also people don't realize, because I've seen some crazy comments on my page before,
Oh, I'm sure.
where people have been like, oh, what about, SA and all these other things? And it's like, at the end of the day, I'm not you, you're not me. I'm not in control of that. That's your stuff. You don't have to take things in like that, obviously. But we also
Yep.
forget that, like, people have their own concept of self, and they're running off of that. They're living their life off that. So, you know, I've cut friendships because I've outgrown them, because I felt like they weren't growing with me, and also they weren't conscious of manifesting like that. And I felt like it was taking a jab at me, and I didn't feel like it was helpful for me to have those types of people in my life. Does that mean I need to manifest that person in? Like, oh, let me manifest them to, no, I just move on in my life. It's not that serious, you know? I tell people too, like clients that have like where they're looking for new SPs. Um, and I'm just like, write down like 4 important things that you want from somebody, like communication, like those things start showing that when you're on those dating apps. You don't have to be like, okay, I have to have this person. What about that person makes them
Exactly.
so special? I get like, you know, having a relationship with someone and you just have a desire, that's different. But when you're just like, it's not really a desire, it's just a fear of like abandonment, like you're just wanting that person just to prove a point. Like, I mean, they'll come back, but do you really want them? You know?
Yep. That is so valid. You are so real for that. And I agree,
Yeah,
because a lot of times, and I've worked with a lot of people, I know you have too. A lot of times I differentiate between like a heart's desire coming from a place where I know I'm the creator and I know I'm already whole and I don't need this person to do anything to make me feel validated or loved or chosen or any of that stuff. I already am. I'm just desiring an experience with this particular person or whoever.
yeah,
That's a completely different thing than being like, I need this person, even though they've been awful to me or they're a loser or whatever. I don't even really want to be with them. I just want them to validate me so I can finally feel chosen, right?
yes,
Which is that's two separate things. And I've had so many people in my life where I really, really wanted, and I have compassion for people because I understand being in the state where you just want to feel better and you just want, and you hyper fixate on that person because you think they're going to save you or make you be what you want to be or feel what you want to feel, and they're not. And that's the whole point. But I look back at the end of the day and I'm like, I thank God it didn't work out and I didn't actually get what I wanted, because I didn't actually want that. I just wanted to be validated and I wanted to feel chosen and wanted, and all of that. And there are so many people in my life too that, to your point, I don't care to take the time to revise them. I don't, you know what I mean? Like, I could do that. We could do
yeah,
that. But also the whole
and I think people.
freedom of choice.
And I agree with you
Exactly.
entirely. Like, and the crazy thing is, I know there's going to be someone probably listening, kind of panicking. And I want to say, like, you're still going to manifest that in. So you'll have that ability to say, I don't want this or not. There's so many things that I've
Exactly.
manifested in. I think I've talked about this on my podcast. And then I kind of want to ask you a question after this, but this is so silly. So in 2020, don't know why, I was obsessed. I love like forensic files. I've always loved that as a kid, but I was obsessed with, this is so weird, crime scene cleaning. I don't know. And so the
That's
company,
that Scorpio rising.
yes. So the company's name was Spalding Decon, right? And they were not anywhere near me. But I wasn't really trying. I just would watch their videos on YouTube and be like, wow, this would be so like, I don't know, it's just something about like cleaning up someone's last moments. It sounds weird, but
Oh my God, that is so
yes,
Scorpio.
I
I have
know.
I have another friend who's a Scorpio, either rising or sun. She might be both. She loves freaking crime scene or like crime
Yes,
podcast, true crime, all that
yes,
stuff. She is like, so there's that
yes. I
stereotypical
know.
Scorpio, which I love it.
So, I just would watch their videos and sometimes randomly visualize myself like doing it, not even on purpose. It just was an accident. I wasn't trying and I let it go. I was like, wouldn't that be cool if they opened up here? And then a year later, I was scrolling Instagram and they said they opened in my town. And you know,
Of course
South
they
Carolina
do.
is not like usually a go-to for places. They always like either hit Charleston, Myrtle Beach, but never like my town. So I was
Yeah.
like, what the heck? So then I remember telling this story to a client and I was leaving to get coffee after I got off the phone with them. And Spalding Decon was in my neighborhood. I was like, get out of here.
You freaking did that.
Isn't that crazy? So when I tell people that, I stopped wanting it after it showed up. I was like, that's not for me now, you know?
Yep.
So
I've had that happen a bunch of
yeah,
times because, I tell my clients this too all the time. Like, think about how whatever you're desiring to feel, because that's what we really want. We want the thing to make us feel some type of way. That's why we want
yeah.
things, or we just want to feel better,
Mhm.
right? Or feel good. And the paradox is the only one that can make you feel anything is yourself, because that the thing and the experience is not doing that for you. It's just reflecting that back to you.
Yep.
So you're right. And after you get what you want, you might feel that for a while, but then at some point it's going to feel boring because it's just going to be normal,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
And so, like, if you can do that ahead of time, that kind of to me is true detachment, where it's like, well, I feel the way I wanted to feel anyway. So I know that thing's going to show up, but I don't have to cling on so tightly to it because I'm not outsourcing anything or projecting anything onto it, if that makes any sense.
I always tell clients, I'm like, if you're manifesting, I remember talking to one of my clients and it clicked for her when I said this, but um I told her, I said, to really stop seeing your SP as separate from you. I want you to
Yeah.
imagine you already have it, it's shown up. Not talking about right when it shows up, all that excitement. I'm talking weeks later when you get in your routine.
Yep.
How does that look? That looks just like now. So you can
Exactly.
tap into it right now. And that just like blew her mind. And she was like, "Oh my God, you're
Yep.
right. It's not so separate from me. It's like I would be feeling this way right now if I had that. Nothing would really change. Just like when you think of money in the bank, like if you're after you have it, you see it, the excitement dies down. That's how you would feel. So just be that and just relax in that. And then in the back of your mind, obviously, tell yourself like this is already done if that's what you want. I know people
Yeah.
hate when I say this sometimes, but I like to say it's on the way. I don't see anything wrong with that. I know I've heard people say it gets you in a loophole if you say that. It's your assumptions, you know? And
Yep.
I'm a little
Yeah.
logical Virgo, so saying it's done sometimes doesn't cut it for me. I have to say it's on the way. Yeah.
Yep. No, I get that. And you know what? I used to think that, and I realized there is no right or wrong
Yeah.
way. It's whatever works for you. It's your
Yeah.
assumption, right? And you know, I look back to when I didn't know any of this, and I would be like, I'm gonna have that, or this is gonna
Yep.
happen, like in future tense or whatever. And it did. And so, like, nothing is stopping you, nothing is keeping it from you. There are no rules, there are no parameters. You can do it however you want to do it. That's your power.
Yeah.
It's the whole thing.
You can do it and be stressed out the whole time and it still shows up, but can you keep
Yep,
it? Can you keep it?
exactly.
That's the downfall. Do you want to stress yourself while getting it, or do you want to relax and like
Yep.
retrain yourself and work on your like, chilling your nervous system out and then keep it, you know?
Exactly. Oh my God, I manifested. Well, we've always been manifesting everything forever, but oh my gosh, I've manifested so many things with crazy ass limiting beliefs
Oh,
and
yeah.
negativity and not feeling good hardly ever, and having a really dysregulated nervous system. But uh, a lot of times I did not keep it, right? Because then once I got it, it would be all right for a while, and then my mind would be like freaking out because my self concept was not matching it,
Yeah. Yeah.
which is a whole other thing.
Oh yeah, I want to ask you a question right quick because I feel like we're going back and forth, but I'm just curious about your experience when you learned about the law, if you want to share some piece.
Yeah. It's so funny. Your story about the secret,
Mhm.
so similar to mine. I was on maternity leave with my youngest daughter, and it was like 2019, 2019. And I was having a hard time in postpartum. She didn't sleep a lot. She had like reflux, and so she was either screaming or she was on me like I was breastfeeding.
Yeah.
And because that was the only thing that would soothe her, and we didn't know that at the time. So I was just exhausted, and I felt like I was losing my mind. And it's so weird because it was such a hard time, but it was also a weird time where I was like, I feel like I'm just going crazy because like I had no sleep and stuff. And then I went to the doctor, and I was like, listen, I something's got to change. And instead of giving me like medication, which there's nothing wrong with that, don't get me wrong. But she was like, I want you to try meditation and just try it out every day. Just do a little meditation. And girl, that changed my whole freaking life. I started meditating. Then I started like feeling better. I started waking up. And then one day, um, I just had this like weird compulsion to turn on The Secret. It was on Netflix at the time. And I didn't really know what it was, but I just turned it on. Like, don't know why. And I started watching it, and I was like, oh my gosh, this makes sense to me. And like all this information started flooding into me, and I was able to like conceptualize it for the first time ever and like grasp it. And I started kind of understanding. But for me, it happened in layers because even though I knew about manifestation, I went it's funny how this happens to a lot of people. I went like nose dive into all the woo woo, spiritual, metaphysical. Like I also did tarot readings for a little bit, and which is funny. And like the crystals and stuff, and I'm not knocking any of that. I still like that stuff. I just there came a point when I found law of assumption that I'm like, oh, I've been giving my power to these things,
Crystal on my
right?
desk. I
I have like one on mine
have so
too.
many
It
crystals.
holds
But yeah, it's
right.
interesting how it's like everybody has these layers that come back with their. So that's interesting that you started
Yep.
that. So when did you
Yep.
come across the secret?
Um, that was like probably like 6 months into 2019. Yeah, it was like that whole time
Mhm.
where um it was The Secret first. That was like the first thing I found, really. So it was law of attraction
Yeah.
first, just like you, just like a lot of people. Law of attraction. I don't know why that
I
is. Like,
actually have my book right here. I want to show you.
do
That was
you?
my original book that I started reading. It says Secrets
Secrets of
of Success.
Success.
Yes, and this book is what started
Okay.
everything. Um, it's
Okay.
not like it's law of attraction-y, but I was
Yep.
reading this when I was like understanding it. Talks about shifting consciousness and stuff. I just feel like they use a lot of big words that don't need to be used in law of attraction. So anyway,
Right.
go ahead.
You
Sorry.
know what though? No, it's so funny though because um a lot of times I think maybe law of attraction is a good starting point
Yeah.
for people when they're like waking up and remembering,
Hmm.
because it's maybe a little easier to
Yeah.
grasp at first because it's easing you into it before you find out, oh, everything is me. And that's kind of like how I fell into um this whole spiritual awakening journey. And I went really deep into it because I tend to do that with stuff. And I then was like, well, if I know about manifestation and all this stuff, but I didn't know that nothing was separate from me. I didn't know everyone is me. I didn't know all of that.
Me neither.
I didn't know that. right? And so I was like, why am I still repeating patterns? Why am I still feeling this way? Why is my life still not gotten any better? And in fact, it got worse. So um, at that point, lowest point of my life, after going through that whole thing and then realizing, wow, I'm just still the same old me. And then I found law of assumption. And then I found, everything is you, and everything's coming from you and your beliefs, and everything's reflecting you, and the world is a mirror, and blah, blah, blah. That is what really put the puzzle pieces together for me. But I found it at such a low point in my life. I guess that was meant to be, or whatever. It was my time to learn it. But then I was like, holy shit. Now I look back at everything and I'm like, no wonder. That's how I conceptualize myself. That's the story I was telling about myself. That's what I was telling about that other person, right? So it just like blew the lid wide open for me to be able to like have the tools to actually change my life.
Yeah.
Because before I was like, if I know what I know, I must not know everything. Like I used to like that used to keep me up at night, the whole thing about like, well, if I know that I can have whatever, why is nothing changing? So anyway, the law of assumption is kind of what did that for me. And it just, when I got it and it made sense. And then I like went all the way with it and started testing the law and started making a lot of changes within myself. And that's what kind of led me on that path and like changed everything for me, honestly. But it came through a lot of contrast.
Yeah. It's kind of interesting how similar our stories are because I just realized as I flipped this book open, I highlighted a bunch of random stuff back then. Mind you, this is like 15-year-old me in this book.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
See, you woke up early. I was like 29.
Girl, I didn't know what I was doing. But one of the things I remember this book saying was talking about meditation. And so my way of meditating was just laying down and visualizing the scenes I wanted. And so what I got
Yeah.
from the law of attraction was just be happy, like feel grateful. So I would listen to like Enigma, I think that's the name of the artist, and just that music would
Yeah.
just put me into a trance. And I highlighted one of the things on here I want to read to you. It says, if you're trying to create a future of success, the energy that you bring to your efforts must be clear, confident, and precisely intentional. If you're carrying difficult emotions from the past, they can cloud your present energy, even if you think you've successfully put them away. So I started learning about letting go of the past and like forgiving, but I
Yeah.
didn't understand. Now I feel like it's just easier to be like, okay, I don't want that storyline. I want this storyline. And so this took some time, obviously, but yeah, this was an interesting book.
All right. I'm
So
going to have to get that book because I've actually
yeah,
never heard of that one.
yeah, this was way back in the day. Like I said, it's very law of attraction-y, you know, the quantum stuff like that, and the what else do they use? I think it does talk vibrational, but it's not to an extreme. But yeah, law of attraction, feel like the lingo is what trips people up.
Yes. It can be confusing. It really
It is.
can be. And
Yeah.
you know what? Nowadays, I think about how I currently go about manifestation in my own life is a
Mhm.
little bit of everything. Like I use the law of attraction and the law of assumption in conjunction because it's
Yeah.
like, all right, what assumptions am I making? What story am I telling? And what am I wanting to feel from this experience? So I'm going to do both of that. I'm going to practice that, right? So it's kind of like
Yeah.
all these buzzwords, but really, I mean, I think about how everything I've ever wanted, I wanted it so I could just feel some type of way. So I'm like, well, hell, I could feel that right now. And I could assume that right now that I have that, I am that. And that's kind of like how I navigate things now is like if I have a desire come up, I'm like, all right. And then if I have, because that's giving you clarity, right? Because sometimes you get clarity on what you want from seeing what you don't want. And you talking about people getting tripped up by their reality and taking it so personally. A lot of times the 3D is helping you figure out what you want, right? And then if I have a doubt pop up, then I'll be like, all right, and then I just like try to come back to the I am. Like, no, I am this. No, I have this. I don't care what you look like. And every time when you do that, you know what?
Yeah.
reality just has to shift. It just has to.
Yes, it has to. So I kind of want to mention like two things or three things I've manifested this year, I'd say, that were kind of interesting. And if you want to share yours too. Um, so for me, one of the big ones was weight loss. I was very overweight for a while. I struggled with it. I actually had a very unhealthy relationship with alcohol, and I manifested that to change. And then I just started stepping into that energy of who am I? You know, how, if I'm healthy, what does this look like? And I lost 30
Yeah.
pounds. I got into the gym. My SP was like, get in the gym, get in the gym. And I was like, so I went, and then boom, I'm obsessed with it, and like that's my life now. And then now I'm like putting on weight purposely so I can gain muscle. But one of the other interesting things that came along, because you ever notice sometimes how some desires like they manifest like they're connected to another. It's like a spider web. It's weird. Like, so me
Yep.
losing weight, one of the other things I wanted to manifest was getting rid of my ovarian cyst. I don't have PCOS, but I had ovarian cyst pop up. And I remember going to this doctor's appointment, and she was like, you have so many, like, I don't know, like, this is not good. And I would have a lot of pain, and I would think that, like, it would push on my bladder. So I would have to pee all the time. It's just really uncomfortable. And like every time I'd hit like a certain point in my cycle, it would get worse. And I wanted that to go away, naturally. And so I just started to believe it, and I left it. And then I also added in a supplement, and I had the assumption. So I know sometimes people get obsessed with, I want it out of thin air, but I had the assumption if I take this vitamin D, it's going to make that go away too. It's going to help. So I just started taking it. I
Yep.
mean, I didn't go to the doctor and get blood work like I should have, but I just started taking it, and I still take it. And with losing the weight as well, the cyst just disappeared before even the full weight loss. And I was just like, I just now realized it recently. I was like, because I'd have to sleep with a heating pad sometimes at night. It'd be so annoying. Like I just feel that fullness. And I
Right.
thought I even had like some type of bladder issue. It was just so bad. And so I manifested that away. And that was just that blew my mind. Um
Yep. That's
uh
big. That's major.
yeah, and I've manifested away a ganglion cyst before on my foot because I was like, I don't want to have a needle drain it out. Like, ooh, no. So I manifested
Yep.
that. That was random, but the I guess the advice I give for people when they're manifesting physical is like state what you feel and leave it. You have to detach because it's not going to
Yep.
show up when you're trying. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? It's not showing up then. It's going to show up just like I just said, me noticing, oh my God, I don't have any of those symptoms anymore. Like,
Yep.
I'm not gonna go into my personal stuff on some of this stuff, but when I got an ultrasound not too long ago, they were like, "You don't have any cysts. You're good." And I'm like,
Yep. Of course.
so that
I'm
was
not
really
surprised
cool.
at all.
Yeah.
And
Um,
you know what? People get tripped up on bridges too. Like
yes,
your
they do.
bridge was what it was, and it doesn't matter what it is. Like people, like you said, people get hung up on it has to just come out of thin air. No, it doesn't. Stop limiting yourself. Your
I know.
bridge can be anything. And there's
Right.
nothing wrong with that. It doesn't mean that you didn't manifest it if your bridge to weight loss was through
Yes.
whatever it was through or whatever. You know what I mean?
I also had the belief that my metabolism was fast and stuff like that too. So like when I incorporate cheat days sometimes I don't stress it, right? But another thing I manifested where I was stressing was my licensing exam. I don't know if you've heard me talk about that. Oh my God. But I was becoming a licensed marriage family therapist, and that damn test is so freaking hard. Um so there's like all these other types you can be like LPC and stuff, and no shade on any of those, but I've heard those tests are a little bit easier. The social work test is a little
Gosh.
bit easier. Mine is hard. I'm like, I don't know. So I remember I didn't study at all in grad school, and my professor was like, that's not good. And I'm like, I don't care. I'm too busy trying to do all these things and do an internship and all this. And so
Yep.
I um I ended up trying to take the test this time last year actually. I took the test, and I think I had found out the first time I took it, my results around my birthday, and I failed, and I had the intrusive thoughts and all that stuff, but I kept telling myself, it's okay. Well, when I saw that I failed it, I only failed by 10 points, which was to me old Darcy would look at it and be like, "Oh, I'm a failure, I'm dumb, I'm stupid, blah, blah, blah," going down that. And instead it was like, 10 points, dude, that's insane. And you only studied for 3 months. I was like, "You're smarter than you think." So when I opened
Yep.
it, I was on the phone with my friend and I was like, "Oh, it says I failed." And I was like, "That's okay. I'll get it next time." Now, normally I
I
wouldn't say
love
that.
that you gave that such a positive meaning.
You know what I told myself? I said, "Maybe where I'm supposed to work is not ready for me yet." I got goosebumps.
Oh my
But
God.
that's what I
Yes.
said to myself, and I believed it, and also, sometimes I feel like your future self connects with you, your present self, and that's why you feel this unnaturalness of calmness, you're just like, "I don't care."
Yep.
And then,
It's just like an inner knowing because
it
you like
is.
I felt that way for the past several months because I had some
Yeah.
stuff going on in my personal life, and I'm like, uh, I I can't explain it where I
Mhm.
have not felt called to take a certain action regarding that thing because
Yes.
I'm like, no, I just know it's
Yes.
gonna be okay. I don't know how I know, but I just
It's a
know.
very cockiness, you know? Um, I like to say I've said it a few times on my podcast, it's like being very defiant, like, I'm just like, "No, this is it." Um, so for that
Yep.
next, I took the exam again, I restudied, I slowed down, and then I didn't think about it constantly. I had it written down, but nothing was really phasing me. I think what really helped me is I said, I don't care if I fail this. I'm going to get this one day. It doesn't matter. It's for me, and that's all I
Yes.
need to know. And I let it go. And I went into that test and I said, I'm going to pass. I'm going to pass. I'm going to pass. And then I let it go and I did not care. And then I opened it in January of this year and I was just blown away. Like that was probably my biggest achievement for myself. Like when I say that exam is hard, it is hard. It is 120 questions, I think. It's a 4-hour exam, almost 5 hours.
Gotcha.
And you can't really get up except, if you get up to go to the bathroom, it takes up your time. And also, I'm a fast, like quick person. I'm not slow. So of course I finished up quick again. I was like, ah, but I was like, let it go. And I did.
Yep.
And then I passed and I passed higher than I expected. Like I was like, I don't care if I pass by a point, but I passed like above and I was like, dang. And so that kind of made me realize too that like you can have those fears in the back of your mind. I did have that. And the
Yep.
reason why I had those fears is I was on freaking Facebook groups for the licensing and people would say, I've taken this 7 times. I can't get it. Mind you, it's a $400 exam. And I'm like,
Yep.
7 times. And in my state, I cannot work unless I have that exam, like license.
Right.
And I was like, what if I'm like them? I was like, stop comparing. They're not you and you're not them. No offense. They might be stupid.
Yep.
That's okay. You're not. Like, you're going to pass
Exactly.
this. And boom. So,
That sounds similar to I took my boards for OT for occupational therapy.
yeah.
Um, it was very nerve wracking and like national board exam or whatever, and that was in 2012, I think, when I took it. But I had to go to like a testing
Yeah. I had to
center,
do this.
and you sit there for hours,
Yes.
and you, it,
I couldn't even wear,
yeah, and you it
I
really.
couldn't even wear my watch. I couldn't wear anything.
Oh, because they don't want you to take anything that you might you can't take anything in with you. Yeah, me either. They like you have to leave your stuff outside the testing room or
Yes.
whatever,
Yes. I put in
which
a
is funny.
locker.
But that is amazing though. Like I love first of all, like you are an MVP, like at getting the letter where you didn't pass the first time and being like I love when people do that and I there are times in my life where I've done that and I'm like shocked myself by being unbothered and giving it a positive meaning.
So,
And actually, have you ever gotten excited sometimes in the face of like negative
yeah.
circumstances? Cause I'm like, oh, this means it's working. I'm so
Yeah.
happy. Like, isn't that weird?
It is so weird, and also somebody had posted on the Facebook group their passing, so I, like, took that sheet and, like I don't know, maybe I didn't take that sheet, I think it motivated me to create a something else where I looked at it all the time where it said "pass," so I just would look at that picture and it said "pass," and that's all I would
Yep.
think of, but again, I had extreme like anxiety, like, oh my God, if you fail this again, it's gonna delay stuff, and then la 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 la, you know?
Oh, it really is true. Like the doubt does not matter,
Yeah,
especially even if you have doubt, even if you have fear. If you just keep claiming it and you just keep coming back to, no, I did this, I have
yeah,
this, I am this, even if
yeah.
there's doubt,
There's
even if it whatever, it just has to be. There's no other way.
There's a difference, in my opinion, between doubt and your assumption. Like, assumption, you can
Yep.
at the core know, this is what I believe. Now, if you keep letting that doubt, like, take control, and in my
Yep.
opinion, just understanding the law of assumption gives you such a bonus, because then you just automatically already know, like, okay, I really, like, even if you're new to understanding the law of assumption, your brain is
Yep.
already starting that awareness, and you're already like kind of dissecting, like, okay, I am scared of this, like, especially when people have SPs with third parties and they're like fearful of manifesting. And my favorite thing to tell people is, tell yourself, this is a new pattern, brain. It's okay. Let it go.
Yep.
That's what I say to myself anytime I'm like feeling that, like, even with the test, I'd be like, this is a new pattern. It's okay. And if I talk to myself almost like logically, scientifically, my brain's just like,
Yep.
you're right. Instead of looking at it from an emotional perspective of like, oh my gosh, it's okay. Like, it doesn't mean this. Relax.
Yep.
Change your. No, I'm just like, new pattern. And it's something about
Yep.
saying that just like shifts your thought process. We just sometimes want to jump to the what we assume because we've already seen that, and we're stepping into that unknown. So it's about accepting
Exactly.
that.
I love that. It's so funny because what you said a minute ago about looking at the past photo
Yeah.
reminds me of it's such a thing. Like we're absorbing stuff all the time, and your mind, your subconscious is like so um ahead of you. Like it's a million steps ahead of you. It's filtering all kind of shit that you don't even know
Yeah.
consciously. And you know how like in the movie theater or whatever, like with speed, they'll just like put up a picture of popcorn and then like then it's gone.
Yeah.
And it's like programming people to want to go buy popcorn,
Yep.
which is funny. And so this is why you've seen them, I know, I'm sure. I like sometimes in the morning, like when I first wake up, which I know this is probably bad to like look at your phone or whatever,
I do too.
but
It's okay.
um well, I'm like, I'm doing this purposefully, right? I love those like video reels on Instagram where it's like just pictures of like whatever it is that you want, like the life that you want. Like maybe it's like travel or money or love or whatever. And it's just like boom, boom, boom. I like to look at those because I'm like, oh, you're soaking in all of this. It's like that subliminal reprogramming. Do you know what I
Yes.
mean?
Yeah.
Because it's so powerful. Like you looking at
That's
that
what I listened
photo,
to also
it
when I was doing my
is just soaking it
when
up.
I was, like, preparing for the exam that day. I was listening to subliminals and just, like,
Yep.
things that were
I love
me
subliminals.
too. Also, speaking of, one of the first things I remember manifesting was my car when I was younger. So I took out of a magazine, I don't know, I just thought of this randomly, of the car I wanted, and I placed it. I had like a bunk bed at my grandmother's house, and I would just stare at it and I'd be like, I'm getting this. I'm getting this. Mind you, I'm like 17, so I'm like dying to drive. And my dad came home one day and he had two new cars. He had actually gotten into an accident. That was the bridge. And I'm kind of
Yep.
sad now because I'm like, I really wanted that one. But he got into an accident, and then that car, he got two cars. And he's like, which one do you want? And the one that I wanted was right there. And I was like, I want that one. He's like, you want
And
the
not
older
make it
one? I
up.
was like, I want that '07. I don't want that 2011. I want that '07. Because it was
That is
exactly what I
hilarious.
wanted, just a different color. I wanted a red, it was a Ford Escape at the time, and I was like, "I want a green or a red one," and I got a green one. So, it's just
You cannot make it up.
yeah, and that car lasted me 10 years. I had a good assumption of it because everyone was like, "Oh, these cars are terrible, like, Ford's bad." SP at the time is a mechanic, so you know and I would just
Yep.
filter his assumptions. He'd be like, "Yours is really good out of all of them." I'm like, "I know. Duh." Like, I'm
Yep.
lucky. So I didn't have any real problems with my car, until the end, obviously, but I had bad assumptions.
I do that with my car. I'm always like, I love you, car. Thank you for like, I'll talk to her like I call it a her. I'll talk to it like it's a person. Like, thank you for always like running so
Yeah.
perfectly, and I love you so much, and you're so pretty, and you like take care of me and whatever. Like, I love my car, but like, it's so true. Like, you have a good assumption about something, it has to prove you right,
Yes.
and it's always reality's always proving you right back to you. So that's the whole like game changer thing where like I could change whatever it is that I'm doing right now, and then it has to mirror me back. It has to like show me that that is true.
Yeah. So,
Positive, negative, good or bad, it
yeah.
doesn't matter.
Um, Also, you can't really try to fool your mind. I know a lot of times people are like, "Do I need to do things to make myself know?" Your mind already knows what you want. You don't need to try to tell
Yep.
it otherwise. Like, when I got my car now, I was car shopping and I was like, I want something a little bit older, practical. I want to like, whatever." But then I saw mine and I was like, oh my gosh, this is really, I love this. And I was like, nope, we don't need it. So I went to the dealership and they're like, oh, the one you wanted was just sold 30 minutes ago. But here's another one and it was the one I wanted. And I was like, dang it. So I knew like you have
Yep.
to listen to yourself. Like you can try to deny what you want and it's still going to show up.
Yep.
So,
And you don't have to micromanage it
no,
either,
no.
because I mean, your mind really is 10 steps ahead of you, and your future self has already done it.
Yeah.
So, that desire is on you for a reason,
Mhm.
because it literally is already yours. And that's a whole other thing. Like, if I think about that too much, and I've been visited in like meditation by my future self, and she's like, Courtney, all the stuff you want right now, I'm living, I have it, I've done it. You need to chill, like, just chill.
Yeah.
And so I remind myself of that quite often. But
Yeah. And
I would love to hear your thoughts on that, like the whole future self, the interstellar concept where, all of this has to happen this way
mm,
because your future self is already doing it, living it. It's all already done. Like, you've already mapped it out for yourself in a way.
yeah. So I feel like sometimes I connect with future self through, I mean, deja vu, I feel like is one way we connect through our future self. That's a weird little
Yep.
glitch, I feel like. Um, so I like whenever I'm like we talked about me finding out that exam score, this calmness. So right now I'm actually manifesting something where I feel like my future self has already kind of shown me to trust in it. Something to do with my SP and his job situation. I'm like, it's done, dude. I already know it. This is it. You're good. And he's like,
Yeah.
and I'm like, no, it's fine. I promise. And I feel this sense of calmness. Like, I don't feel panic at all. Like, usually, we do have those fears pop up. I don't feel any fears. I'm just like, and I'm probably going to come back and tell you about it too. Um, but yeah, so I'm like, this is gonna happen this way. I know it. But yeah, sometimes I notice it pop um in different ways where I will suddenly have a desire for something and then I will realize it's kind of connected to something else. Um for example, my desire to chill out on the drinking, I didn't realize was connected to my fitness journey because at the time I didn't give a shit about that. Um, and I didn't realize like
Yeah.
that would shift. I don't know. It's like I don't really I guess for me the only time I've really noticed the future self connection is through dreams, sometimes for sure. Um, or um just the calmness I feel like in situations that feel like total turmoil, I'm just overly cocky about it. Um, and it's
I've had that happen so many times where
yeah,
like the circumstances looked
crazy.
dire, and like I in the past maybe I would have been freaking the f out,
Yeah,
but I've had like moments though where the circumstances looked whatever, and I'm weirdly calm and
yeah,
I'm weirdly unbothered,
yes.
which is wild.
Um, and this is off topic, but when we were talking about astrology and stuff, and I looked at my natal chart a long time ago, I remember it saying, I don't know what it was in my chart, but it was something about leadership and like helping people in areas that I'm like passionate about. And I'm like, this makes so much sense because here I am. Like, I'm very shy. So me being out there is crazy, but I'm very private too, you know? So um, I took forever to put my face on Persisting Queen. Just because I did have a terrible assumption at first. I just didn't want like people in my area to find me and like, like just annoy me about it. Like I'm not shameful of the topic at all. I will yap everyone off. In fact, I can't stand people that are like so negative. I'm like, please stop. This is literally what I help people with. Don't do this. Um,
Yep.
but I also wanted that sense of privacy. And so I remember when I finally did it, it helped a lot. But yeah, I remember my natal chart even saying, like, you should help people. Like, this is your, and I'm like, that's not me. Like, kind of, I mean, obviously with doing therapy, but
Yep.
this really changed my life for the best. And honestly, like, this made me grow confident in my abilities as a therapist. Like, even though they're two separate things, the fact that I talk to people all over the country, it changes you so much mentally. Like I went into becoming a therapist so easily. Like there was no real
Yep.
like, I had time off from that because of taking the exam. And so just doing coaching full time and I was just like
Yep.
blown away by, my abilities. So,
Isn't it wild though? Like you were set up for that. Like talk about the breadcrumbs from your future
yeah.
self. I, I find that, what I do now, is so related in so many ways to what I used to do in healthcare. Like I, I did occupational therapy and I loved my clients, but a lot of times, I was speaking with them and connecting with them in such a way that I still connect with people now. You touch people's lives. And even though I'm not physically helping people anymore, like with therapy, it's still very
Yeah.
similar. And, I went and got for my continuing education as an OT, in I don't even remember when it was, maybe like 2019, 2017. I can't remember when it was. Anyway, I went and did like a weekend with my coworker, um, for CEUs, and it was a life coaching certification and that I never thought that I would use. And now I'm using that. You know what I mean? So you can't make it up. You're always like being set up for whatever it is you are already going to do. And I talked about this movie I found the other day online. Another thing where I just felt led to turn this movie on, like I did with The Secret
Yeah.
years ago. And the movie was, it was like a parallel lives thing where the girl had, it was going back and forth between the two timelines, where this happened in this one and this other thing happened in this one. And so they went off, and the details of these timelines, um, were different, but all of the desires that she had, she still
It's
got.
crazy.
So it's like the outcomes were the
Yeah.
same, the details were just different to how she got there. And it really blew my mind in a way because I'm like, well, that's kind of how I look at reality. Like you have these big desires because you're gonna get them, you're gonna do them, but the way that you get there, it might look different. The details might be different, but the outcome is the same. And to me, that was very comforting because I really do look at it as you have a desire. It's because it really is already yours because somewhere in time and space, you're already living that.
I was gonna say too, like something to think on is like, yeah, the desire is definitely meant for you. There was something I was gonna say. I feel like sometimes, well, not even sometimes, but your desires are bridges to unraveling who you are and finding who you
Yeah.
are. Like you're meant to experience them, right? Like again, that's Pluto in the first. I'm used to crazy amounts of transformation, even at a young age. And it's just trippy. Like not to get super like I guess, emotional on this topic, but um, I wasn't even supposed to be here. Like, I should have died when I was young. So, I had open heart surgery at 5. So cool fact about me, my heart's on the right side. So yes, I'm a guinea pig in
Oh
hospital.
my
I hate it.
goodness.
Um, so I had a hole in my heart, and I also had something called PAPVR. And my mom, her intuition knew. This is so trippy to me. I feel like it almost like it's like you're destined to be here. Your soul's supposed to be here. And when
Yep.
she was pregnant, they were like, didn't really think of anything. And then I was born, I was very colicky. And then they found the hole in the heart, and then they thought it would close. And then when I was like about 4 years old, my mom would notice I'd breathe really like hard after a run. I'd be like inhaling really hard. And then I wouldn't eat much. I weighed like nothing. So we went to my doctor, and he was like, she needs to go to the heart hospital. So I went to a heart hospital in Charleston in USC. And they were like, they went to go perform a surgery to close the heart. And then they realized there was something else happening. And if they closed that heart, that would have killed me. So they stopped. And this is
No.
all in like hold on, let me backtrack. 98. So we know technology was non-existent. So they came out of there, and they told my parents like she's got something else that we got to like do. And so they sent them
Wow.
to another doctor, and then they're like she has to have actual open heart surgery. So at 5 years old I went in to have open heart surgery, and um I went under. I was, again, that peace, that calmness, weird as shit, right? So calm for a 5-year-old to go into surgery. I remember my dream from surgery, and it was my mom's mother. I never met her. And she was playing with me on the playground. She was like telling me, like, you have a lot of time to live. Like, you're supposed to stay. And I was like,
Oh
"Wait."
my God, that
I
gives
know.
me
And
chills.
so she was like swinging with me on a swing, and she was in black and white, and she died a long time ago. And then I woke up calm, and I had a tube in my mouth. They removed it, and I called my parents, and I was like, I'm out of surgery, it's fine. And from that point on, I just like have thought like maybe I've always grown up thinking like I'm supposed to be here for some reason. I don't really know what.
Yeah.
And then yeah, so I had that, and yeah, it's
Oh my
yeah.
goodness. You absolutely like that whole story just gives me chills, and you absolutely are here for a reason, and you have a big purpose, and you know what, you're changing people's lives every day. Like you and your posts were part of the big things in 2022 for me that really woke me up to the law of assumption. And I'm so like you're impacting people more than you know, and you absolutely are here for a reason. So no coincidences, no accidents. And that story, it makes me want to cry because like a lot of times I feel like um for whatever reason, people that are here to make big impacts, and maybe this is just my assumption, but I've seen and heard a lot of people's stories who are making big impacts in the world, who went through a lot of hard shit or traumatic stuff, or you know what I mean? And like, I don't think that's coincidental. I think it's purposeful.
And I agree. I think that people like, and it's not just for my own self. It's like we're here to help people wake up. And
Yep.
another interesting transformational story for you. When I was 20 years old, when I was about 19, my stepfather and my dad both got diagnosed the same week with terminal illnesses. So my dad was very strange cancer, undefined, stage 4. My stepdad had cirrhosis of the liver. And in fact, his anniversary is coming up on the 28th, no, 29th. He died at 1 year and 1 month from my dad. It was so weird. So, my dad, when he was sick, I helped take care of him. This is part of my spiritual journey, by the way. So, it does have a meaning to it. And so I stepped up and took care of him and was his caregiver. My dad and I always joked about our telepathy. So when I was younger, if again, this is that manifesting, and he would totally be on board with this. He understood law of attraction. But I'd be like, if I was at a party and I knew I shouldn't have been there, I'd be like, "Oh, my dad's gonna kill me." And he'd call me and be like, "Where are you?" And I'm like, "Damn it." So my family had this running joke that we all were connected. I mean, I know we're all connected energetically, we all are in the
Yeah.
world, but I
Yeah.
felt like with my family, because they believe that, it just created it more. It's annoying sometimes, but so when my dad was in the hospital, this trips me out to this day, and this kind of opened up that realm of like, dude, what the hell? I had a dream right before my dad died that my mother was like, "We gotta go to the hospital. Your dad's cold. He's dying." And I was like, "Shit." Woke up to my mom saying that same shit to me. And I was like, so we
Whoa.
I felt like my dad was connecting with me because he was fading out of his body and his soul
Yeah.
energy was connecting with me. And so
He was like sending the signal, "You gotta come see me.
yes, and
You
so
gotta come see
he
me."
always said he's gonna come back through weird ways. And I know that like we can see it as you manifest things but in my opinion, this is just my belief system after having so many people die in my life. I believe that when we die, we continue to manifest. And I believe like because there's just times where I'm like, okay, this must be my dad, you know? And even when
Yeah.
he passed, like, a year after, I had someone call from the same hospital, and they were like, "Hey," they left me a voicemail, and they said his name. His name was John, so Johnny, and they were like, "Hey, it's Johnny," and they said, "I'm getting better," and hung up. So I feel like sometimes people don't realize this, we don't talk about
Wow.
this enough, but the energy in people's like, they come through other things. They come through people, objects, all those things, you know?
Yeah.
Um,
I agree. They're still always here
yeah.
too because energy
No,
never gets
no.
destroyed, but also like through our human eyes, we can't see everything
Yes.
that's here.
I agree,
So they're still
and I
here.
believe, like and this is probably a lot deeper, I've never even talked about this on my page, but, like, I believe when we die, whatever we assume it to be is what it will be, and then
Yep.
energetically, I do feel like people are still there, and you continue kind of we don't know what happens after. You might enter into and, start manifesting from that aspect, I don't know, but I
Yep.
think that it's very limited when people talk about it. Like I've had some people say they want to manifest someone back from the dead, and I'm just like, it's their energy, man. It's gonna pop up in different ways.
Yeah.
I've seen people that looked like my dad. I've seen people say shit like my dad, um, and children, adults, um, and all those things. Like his birthday recently passed, and I was obviously seeing his birthday, so I knew that was because he was on my mind. But I don't think it's just that. I think it's like visits, from the
Yeah, like that person he's still
yeah,
communicating with you. He's still doing the telepathy thing with you
yes,
all the
yeah,
time because he's never gone. They're never gone.
yeah.
And I love this. I feel like we could just
I
talk
know,
on and on
I
forever.
know,
Um, but I agree with you. And, I have relatives come through all the
yeah,
time. And especially like my papa, I was really close with my maternal grandfather. And I feel like he sends me signs all the time, or he's just letting me know he's still
yeah,
here. Right. And, I even think of it as like if all timelines exist, which they do, and everything exists, then there are, versions of reality out there where they're still
yeah,
here, like physically too. So, which that's mind blowing in
yeah.
itself.
It,
But
um, I think that sometimes it's interesting to go into that unknown of things. And speaking of another manifestation, I don't mind sharing this even before it happens because I know it will. Um, I was really close to my mom's father as well. And I was actually just telling my mom a couple days ago that I want to manifest getting his house back because my grandmother sold it, and then we had a major flood here in 2015, and it went completely under, so it was completely renovated. Kinda makes me sad.
oh
And
my,
then the family that bought it freaked out so much, they left. And so, ironically, my mom's childhood friend's, brother and his wife bought the house. So I'm like, "Alright now." And they just divorced, so
yep,
I'm like, "Hold on now, wait." I know you're gonna wanna sell the house at one point, but just hold off, I wanna get it.
Oh my gosh, that's the thing. Like, you have that desire and you know it's
Yes.
meant for you, and you know no matter
Mhm.
what, it's
Yeah.
yours. Even if the bridge needs to look like what it needs to look like or whatever, it doesn't matter because it's yours. And I love that inner knowing. The inner knowing is such a thing
It really is.
that even if you have moments of doubt, like that doesn't matter. People get so freaked out about stuff like that. Like, you don't have to be
No.
perfect. You can feel however the heck you want to feel and still get everything you want because it literally is already yours. But I've had like my higher self, future self, whatever you want to call it, I don't know, like tell me like just chill because it's already done. Like, you just need to um relax and enjoy the ride to getting there, and like that's the fun part anyway, right? Like, that's the fun part.
So, I totally agree with you. In fact, I actually tattooed like "Be still" on my wrist. If you can see it. I
Yep, I love
Yeah,
that.
so it's like be still and know that you're God, like chill, relax. Like
Yeah,
sometimes we get so consumed by stuff. It's like you have to reset yourself and stop and be like, okay, what like get back to it. Like slow down, think about what it is you're feeling, not so much being on autopilot and reacting. And it kind of trips me out. I don't know if you feel this way, but when you think back to your old self before knowing all this, it's like, who the hell was that? Was that a robot? Like, why was I on autopilot? Like, now it's like the awareness clicked in, and I'm like, who was that? Like, that wasn't
yep.
me.
No, I feel the same way. And even like I look back at like photos of myself and stuff, and I'm like, that is not me.
Dude, I feel the
I
same.
don't know who that is, even though it's me, but it's not me. Like, I feel so far removed and detached from who whatever that person
Yeah.
was. And it is like it's like the asleep you
Yes.
versus the
But
aware
it's so
you.
weird because it almost feels like, what was that? Because you're literally on autopilot thinking whatever you want at all times. And it's weird to know, like, I would be thinking negatively about stuff on purpose. That trips me out. But it almost feels like it's a past life instead of it being like your past.
That,
It's like, who
that.
is that?
I was just
Yeah.
about to say that. I think back on my childhood and I'm like, I feel like that didn't actually really happen to me. Not me. Not me right now.
Right.
That I didn't do that. Like, that didn't happen to me, right? Like a whole other life is what it feels
Yeah.
like.
Like 2019 me, I'm like, I don't know, like who the heck that was. And it not even about like looks or anything. It's like, what the fuck? Like I wasn't thinking at all.
Yeah.
And now it's
Exactly.
just like you're just so in tuned with the awareness and all that. It's just it trips me out so much, you know?
I agree. Absolutely. Well, Darcy, thank you so much. I feel like we could just
I
talk
know
on and on. We're gonna have to
it's
do a
very
part two.
yeah,
We're gonna have to do this
yes, we
again.
do.
Because there's so many topics and so much
I
stuff
know,
that we wanted to cover that we didn't even get into. So we got to do it
yes, we do.
again. But thank you so much. I feel honored to have you here, and it's been amazing talking to you because I've looked up to you for so long. Like, literally, your page was one of the first accounts that I found where I was like, oh, this is clicking. Oh, I get it. Oh, it makes sense. And like, I've been a fan of you for so long, and I just feel so honored to get to like sit down with you, and I appreciate you so much. So tell people where they can find you and all that good stuff. And if you have anything going on that you want people to know about, let them know.
Think I don't really have too much going on. Just the basics of, just regular coaching, which if you want to do that, DMs. But yeah, you can find me at Persisting Queen pretty much anywhere. I'm on Spotify, TikTok. I'm terrible on TikTok. We need to go live on TikTok one day because I'm
Yes.
scared to death over there. I don't know why. I need to change.
Are you?
I Yes, I don't know. When I was on YouTube doing those YouTube shorts, I don't know what was going on with the algorithm, but it was attracting so many crazy people. And they were like leaving terrible comments like,
Wow.
oh, this is schizophrenic. And I'm like, dude, I'm in the mental health field. Like, I know what a
Right.
psychosis is. I know what a mental illnesses are, all that. So it was kind of weird. But no, I haven't gone live over there. But I'm on Spot.
Well, I would love to go live with you. That's how I feel about Instagram. I'm like,
Really?
I haven't figured it out yet.
I haven't gone live, honestly, anywhere. I need to get out of my comfort zone. So maybe we can pop in on a live on TikTok one day.
Yeah.
But I'm on Spotify, Instagram, what else? Yeah, that's about it. I do have my course, but yeah, all that information's in my bio on Insta. So find me on Insta at Persisting Queen. That's where I'm at.
And I will link all of your stuff in the
Okay.
description as well, whenever I post this on YouTube. And so people can find you there as
Okay.
well. And again, thank you so much. And
Yeah.
thank you everyone for listening. And we're definitely going to do this again.
Yes, please. We have to.
All right.